Hi everyone, welcome back to Aspire. I'm so excited to bring actor Paul Greene on the show today. He is known from When Calls the Heart and all of your favorite Hallmark movies, and today he's going to share his keys for success and tips for actors during a pandemic. So let's get him on. Super excited for this interview. He should be right with us.
Hi.
Hi. Hi,
Good.
Paul. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I am good. It's great to have you on the show. Oh, there we go. It's great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being a guest.
You're welcome. I'm just going to screen record so I can share.
Absolutely. So before we dive in, you too. It's truly a pleasure. So have you gotten back from your beautiful vacation? Yes, back in LA. Not a bad place to be. All right. So I'm in Toronto. Yeah. I'm downtown Toronto. So before we dive into this conversation, I just want to give a big thank you to our show sponsor, Mile Studio. And Mile Studio has amazing. We can't hear Paul. They're saying, "All right, I can hear you, but let's sort that out." Okay, sounds good. So Paul is gonna join us back. He's going to join back in because we need to check his audio. Thank you so much, everyone who's watching right now who's saying that you can't hear him. Thanks for the feedback. So we'll get that sorted out. And let's see. Should be right with us. Hopefully we can hear him this time.
It's strange that you can hear me. Oh, maybe it's when I started screen recording.
Maybe. Can you guys hear him now? Can we
Yeah,
get
there.
Do you hear Paul, everyone?
Hi, check. 1, 2, 3. Lopez is here. Paula Waters is here. Uh, Let us know if you can hear me. You can hear me.
I can
Thanks,
hear you
Amy.
now.
Thanks. So,
Thank you so
okay.
much. Thank you so much for the feedback. Yeah, so just a quick shout out to our show sponsor, Mountain Studios. They have studios in the US and in Canada, amazing courses for actors. So I highly encourage any actors to go check them out. And now, Paul, my first question to you is, what is a personal life mantra or statement that you live by?
Well, it's actually the tag that's on my Instagram right now is the grass is greener where you water it, which means if you we live in a society where we think that if we get more stuff or a bigger role or more money maybe there's a better relationship out there, but what's I have found to be true is if you nurture what you have, the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And I heard that quote and it just really resonated. It's like, you don't need more stuff and you don't need more, bigger, better, faster. You just need to nurture what you have and give love to the relationships that you currently have. And I've learned the hard way that grass is not greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it.
I love that. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful mantra to live by, and it really is so true. And
Mm-hmm.
now,
What's
what would you?
yours, Charlotte? What's yours?
My mantra is,
Yeah.
I would say, you get what you give in anything, and it kind of talks to the same. It's kind of the same. It's similar to what you're saying because it's all about, what you put in is what you get out. So if you kind of give something your all, the results will be usually great. And I just really believe in doing your best, and that's all you can do. And if you do that, you're gonna get along. You're gonna get far. So yeah, I try to kind of live by and also doing what you can with what you have. I think that will also take you far. I think those are two mantras that I live by.
Got it. Thank you.
And now, what would you say is one of the most important life lessons that you've learned?
Life, wow, there's really so many. I guess resilience and just keeping moving forward. And it's a Disney quote. Walt Disney just said, just keep moving forward. And it's one of his, the people that win are the people that don't quit, meaning you might have a failure, but if you quit, you're never going to make it. But if you just keep on moving forward and keep going, eventually you'll get there. And especially works for actors because, you know, we get so many no's and so many rejections, and it's the ones that make it are the ones that just keep going, that just keep moving. So it doesn't matter how many failures you have. It just matters, and they're failures in quotes, because I don't believe there's such a thing as a failure or a mistake. Like they always get you to the next level if you're willing to have that perspective that your failures are the doorways to your next success as well. I put that in quotes because success is kind of unmeasurable, because fulfillment, I find, is much more measurable. Meaning, like, if you can have success but no fulfillment in your life, that's a true failure in my experience. Is that if you have all the success in the world but you have no fulfillment, you really aren't living a life that you really love. So that, I would say, the biggest lesson is just keep moving forward. And I've shared this before, but I've had 600 and probably 50 auditions now, and I've had over 600 rejections. I've had over 600 no's. So I've had about 45 yeses in my career, and those make up my career. But people only see the tip of the iceberg, which is like they think you're successful and you've always been that way. But it's been 20 years of me going to acting classes and thousands of auditions, if you add up the commercials as well as the moving picture, movie, film, or TV. So that's one of the best lessons, just to keep going. If you really love what you're doing and you keep moving forward, you're eventually going to attain some level of success. And if not, you'll at least be moved into another doorway into something that you truly love. But the only people that fail are those that quit.
I couldn't agree more. Beautifully said.
Mm-hmm.
And now, can you quickly take us through your journey, how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, it's a funny story, and I've shared it. Some of my fans are on here, and I know a lot of them know this story, but I'll take it back to, like, I grew up in a really small part of Canada, and I did a little acting as a kid, like in church plays and school plays, but I was an athlete. I never really dreamt of being an actor. I was from such a small part of northern Alberta that there's nobody around me that was in the arts. Everybody was a hockey player, football player, volleyball. There's a lot of really great volleyball players and hockey players from my town. The town's called Wetaskiwin. And surrounding, later I found out there's models that became actors, like Trisha Helfer, grew up right next to where I did in Stettler. And the modeling agent that discovered me, which is really how I left a small town to travel the world, was through modeling. But I remember I saw a movie called Bloodsport, which is a Jean-Claude Van Damme martial arts movie. And I saw Purple Rain in the same weekend. And I wasn't exposed to film. The only movie I had seen was Chariots of Fire. I grew up in a very Christian home where they wouldn't let us watch like regular movies or even listen to music that wasn't gospel. So I grew up very, very sheltered. And when this weekend, when I saw Bloodsport, the martial arts affected me, but the acting affected me. And then Purple Rain started to give me my love for music in that way. And at that time, I was already a drummer in our church band, and I had played trombone and a few other instruments. But after seeing Bloodsport, I kept waking up on the farm on a movie set. So I'd wake up and they would yell cut, and I'd wake up and I'd be in my little room, and I was 15 years old, and it was a recurring dream that I was on set. It wasn't like I was in the movie. I was actually with Jean-Claude Van Damme, like fighting, and they'd yell cut, and I'd be like, and then I'd wake up. So as soon as I got my license, I drove myself to acting school in Edmonton. There's a studio there called Daryl Mork, and it was acting for film and television. Put myself into that while I was in all my volleyball camps and hockey camps. And then as soon as Kelly Strite, who's a really amazing modeling agent, found me for modeling, I went on a 10, 15-year journey of modeling. But fortunately, along the way, I was in some of the best acting schools like Stella Adler and Uta Hagen and Susan Batson when I lived in New York City. And every day that I would have a commercial job, I did 100+ TV commercials in my career so far. Those were my favorite days, when the picture was moving, not just putting on clothes. I was acting, and I loved it. But it wasn't till I was 30 years old when I moved to LA, and my son was 6 months old. And I knew I had to get to LA for pilot season, but every pilot season in my modeling career, it was campaign season. So I would have all these jobs lined up for January, February, March, and I would have had to turn down quite a lot of work to go to try pilot season in LA. Mm-hmm. But when my son was 6 months old, I had to run from the World Trade Center when at 9/11. I was downtown shooting a Target commercial, mm-hmm. and came out of the building, and the trade centers had fallen, and there was debris in our building. We had to run uptown to Central Park and over the 59th Street Bridge to where we lived in Queens. And that was strike one. And then when my son was 6 months old, or maybe 3 months old, actually back it up, my son was 2 weeks old, and all the power went out on the East Coast for about 10 days. And we lived on the 37th floor. And so I'm carrying this 2-week-old baby up 37 flights of stairs to go down and get food. It was just crazy. That was strike two. And then I knew I was trying to get out of New York to LA. And then a big truck splashed gray water on my son and me when we were just on a curb. Like, a truck went by and water came up on us, and it was gross water. And I was holding my son, and I was like, that's it. We're selling. I was into real estate quite a bit at the time. So we had 3 properties, and I put them all up for sale and moved to LA with 0 acting credits at 30, which is now about 15 years ago.
Wow. And
so I came out here with a new baby and my wife at the time, and I started from 0 with no credits. But I went into LA with a lot of confidence because I had a lot of money saved, and I had a lot of swagger from such a successful run in modeling, that I was interviewing agents and managers and saying, I don't think you're the one. I'm not sure if you're the right agent for me. I'm interviewing a bunch, and if it's a good fit, I'll call you. So I did like a reverse psychology when I got to LA. I wasn't needy for an agent or needy for a manager. I had an amazing acting teacher, Sandy Marshall here, who is a Meisner technique, and I instantly, and I'd never missed it. Like, even for almost 10 years straight, I was in her class, and never missed a class. But when I went to meet agents and managers, I was interviewing them, going, I'm looking for a team that understands who I am, that'll represent me. I wasn't needy or desperate, and that really helped. And then I found a team that worked well, and I started auditioning. And fortunately, I got a series really quickly called Wicked Games. That was 60 episodes. It was like I did 42 episodes of it, and that sort of got me started. And Tatum O'Neal was my love interest in that. And that was my first job, other than a sitcom with Freddie Prinze Jr., where I played a fireman. But fortunately, I was doing a lot of commercials in LA. There was way more commercials. So I quit modeling, which was scary because I had so many clients that I was working with a new family. But there was a lot of commercials and the commercials sort of covered my transition until I got more regular acting roles. So fortunately, there was a lot of commercial work that carried me.
Mm.
That's kind of the journey. And then in there,
Wow.
David Kelly found me for Wedding Bells, and then he put me in Harry's Law. So I had a couple people along the way that really saw my ability and really believed in me, and
Hmm.
and I always showed up prepared and always made sure that everybody felt the love in my heart for them. Like my superpower was getting rebooked and rebooked, because even with modeling, I would give so much on the set of myself that
Yeah.
because people are away from their families doing these shows and
Yeah.
jobs, and so the set is a family, and I always made sure that it was a good experience, that if people weren't going to be able to be with their family, that they were going to be nurtured in the family of film. So I made sure that I brought my best to every set.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the long journey. That takes you from the farm to New York. Actually, there was about 8 years in Europe that I was between Milan and Paris, and just really discovering my relationship to God and my relationship to myself, and learning how to run a business. And I fell in love with real estate and started investing really young into real estate. I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon that is a parable of saving 10% and giving 10% to God and living off of 80% of your income. And that book really set me up financially and investment wise, but it's also a big part of my financial picture is giving 10% to charity and to God. And I've always done that since I was 16. And I think that's
wow.
the number one key to my success is giving.
That is, wow. That's beautiful, Paul. It really is. We'll link to that book in the show notes so people can go and read
Oh,
that.
it's awesome.
Um,
It's a fun read. I'm having my son read it, who's 16 years old, and it's a life-changing book for sure.
wow, that's amazing. And so you've already touched on it a little bit. What are some other keys, would you say, behind your success?
On learning how to work as a team, like realize not being able to contribute and give as a team, not just thinking that it's all about you. And
Hmm.
the worst acting is when you make it about yourself, and the worst living is when you make it about yourself. So it's like, how do you contribute? And so when I'm on set, I make it, how do I nurture my other actor, who's, especially if you're right in the scene like this, like you and I, imagine we're in a scene. If I listen to you and I make sure that you're okay, just keeping the attention off of yourself, which is, it's tough to do because they say action and it creates tension. And then you think, man, I got to get these lines right. I got to hit my mark right. When in reality, all you have to do is listen and take care of your other actor and make your other actor look good. And then taking all the pressure off of yourself and making it about the other in every situation. Even when you go into a casting room,
Hmm.
like I work with action and this, which is like an intention. So in Stanislavski, there's all the different things that they bring into it, like an as if and an action, and like what action are you playing? So if you go into an acting room, the action is with the casting director. I will pick an action like you're in good hands, meaning like I walk in and I make sure the casting director feels that they're in good hands. That's it. I'm not going in there trying to get the lines right, trying to get the job. I'm going in there with one purpose, to make sure the casting director feels that they're in good hands with me. Like I'm taking care of the casting director. And then that really translates into when you're on set, is just not making it about you, not being a selfish, self-absorbed person or an actor, that when it's all about the other, it's really beautiful acting. And it's a really strong intention too, when I go into a casting room, is to make sure they're taken care of.
I love that way of thinking. I don't think a lot of actors think that way, but that is actually such a different and interesting perspective to take. I think that's powerful. Obviously, it's worked for you, so I think that's something that actors should definitely incorporate next time they go into an audition room.
It's a great thing. Like, and when you have a scene in a scene, there's like, I'm working with Greg Sims right now, who's and this is during the pandemic. I found him, thankfully, he's an online school, and he uses just as if an action in those things. Like, so you create a bit of an as if for the scene, and then you just play one action, like to wake up a dreamer or to put a jerk in his place. Like, you just play one thing, and then the words, because if you just look at your lines or try to get it right or try to get a attaboy, you're a good actor, it's just so flat. So and it's boring, I think. So choosing a very juicy action and playing that one action for the scene is a really great way, uh, I've found to especially with self-taping, like during a pandemic. I know that's one of your questions is, during a pandemic, so much of it is done like this, like with self-tape. So
Yeah.
there's it's a different medium to do auditions or to do even chemistry reads. But I have found that just by picking one action like that or an intention and just really playing that one thing and not trying to get it right or try to be perfect in any way, it stays active.
Yes.
I mean, that's
I
what the
love that.
word acting is performing actions. Like,
Exactly.
acting is action. So if it's active and it lights you up and you choose an action that's juicy, then you play that and it comes across. It really comes across.
For sure.
Mm.
And, we are in the midst of a pandemic right now, and being an actor in normal times is hard enough. What is something you would say to actors right now who might be struggling or having a hard time? What are some words of encouragement that they could really use right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time for sure. And it's back to my original, is just to keep going. It's a numbers game. And now there's way more numbers because they can see way more people because of video, meaning like they couldn't bring 1,000 people into a room, but with acting, they can see a lot more tapes. So then it's an even bigger numbers game, meaning like they're able to see more audition tapes because video. They're not never going to be able to bring 600 people into a room, but they would be able to see a large amount of tape. So, I mean, self-care is a big piece of this pandemic, like having a daily practice where you exercise and meditate and take care of your this physical vessel that is actually going to be the vehicle that you're telling stories with. So if you're not taking care of
Absolutely.
yourself and your immune system, and that's the physical side, and then the mental side is to really manage the intake of fear. Like, I don't watch the news. I find it's if you manage the assault of fear that comes at you, then you can minimize your reaction to fear. So I'm really careful what I watch and how I nurture my mind. I read quite a bit, listen to quite a bit of podcasts and audiobooks to nurture to nurture my mind, so I'm continually growing, continually learning, and then I really take care of my physical body as well.
I think it's so important what we feed our mind. We have to be very conscious about what we're taking in all day, because that affects us more than we can ever realize. And yeah, we need to make sure we're feeding our mind the right things. So yeah, listening to those inspiring podcasts and continuously feeding our minds with things that will nourish our mindset and not destroy it. And especially during these times right now, we need to be as mentally strong and fit as possible, because this is a tough time for everyone. And we will get through this. We're all in this together, but this is a time when we need to really work out those mental muscles more than ever.
I totally agree. And I think there's never been a better time to make your own stuff. Like, you could make with a friend, you could even do a video like this and record it and do a scene and put it up somewhere and like just keep
Yeah.
creating. You can't wait. Like, as an actor, if you wait, you're dead. Like, you have to, there's never been an easier, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's never been a better time to write and to create and to find somebody to collaborate with, like we're collaborating here, and like
Yeah.
you're creating, Charlotte, and you're not just going to wait. You're reaching out to people, and you know, people are at home.
Exactly.
A lot of people are at home, and they're willing to
Yeah.
expand their audience, and they're also willing to, you know, there's ways to create even virtually like this, that you can collaborate and have someone film their side of the scene and you film your side, and then edit it together and put it on YouTube and just create. And then eventually you might just strike a nerve that will become something like, you know, girls. There's so many things that were made as just little internet things that turned into HBO series or bigger series.
Absolutely. You just never know what can come out of it. And honestly, you know, for me personally, creating this show has been extremely rewarding in so many ways. And I think this is the time where we can go inward and we can reflect on what we want to create and where we are and where we want to go, and just we have a little bit more time to spare and really get going at those projects. And if that's, you know, filming a scene with someone, or you know, whatever it is, this is the time to do it. I think we need to use this time wisely and think about opportunities instead of limitations.
I
So
to-
yeah,
I
I also
totally,
encourage everyone to create.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you think you're a victim, you're going to completely remain in a very weak place. So like
Mhm.
this pandemic is happening for you, not to you. It doesn't matter what the situation is.
Yes.
If you're a victim, you'll stay stuck and just looping your same fears over and over again. But if you realize that life is happening for you and not to you, and including a pandemic this size, because there's people that have made the most extreme wealth and the most extreme creativity during this pandemic, and then there's others that have just complained about it and done nothing and are waiting for a bailout or waiting to be rescued. But there's no one coming. Like, it's, you are it. Like, you're the one you're waiting for. Like, if you're, and I there's such a powerful time to be a creator and not a victim.
I couldn't agree more. If you think you're a victim, then that's what's going to kind of start manifesting around you. Life is only as good as your mindset, and you know, you need to have that positive outlook. You really, really do. It's absolutely
Mm-hmm.
essential. So yes, life is happening for you.
Yes.
And so to anyone sitting and watching right now who might have, you know, a little dream inside of them, whatever that might be, but you know, fear is one of the things that usually holds us back. I like to say everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
You say to them in terms of, you know, just giving them that little nudge to go after it, whatever it may be.
Well, I love that saying, that everything's on the other side of fear, and it's also everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. So if something makes you uncomfortable, you have to retrain yourself that to trigger you into action, not into waiting around until you're more comfortable. We live in almost a time of a sickness of comfort. So everyone is looking for ways to be comfortable in society, and rather than challenging yourself to push outside of your comfort zone. And everything you want is on the other side of fear, and everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. So if something comes up that makes you uncomfortable, it's to retrain yourself to be like, oh, this is my trigger to now take action and to move through fear or move through being uncomfortable. And you know, because an object that's in motion tends to stay in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest. So when you take actions and move forward, you get momentum and you gain confidence. And every time you slay a dragon or overcome a little fear, you become a different person. And
Mm-hmm.
you're now are in another level of the video game, and there'll be a new dragon to slay, but it's like you have all the skills and all the tools because you were brave enough to get out of your head and just take action. Like, you can't, like, stop thinking and just do it and just move and go forward, and you will become a different person as you move through those levels of fear and slay new dragons. And I'm a big fan of Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, and it's like every human being and everyone's on their own hero's journey, And
Mhm.
the stories that we love the most, from Star Wars to Hunger Games to Harry Potter, they all very clearly follow a hero's journey where you're at home safe in this land, and there's a call to adventure, and you have to leave what's comfortable, and as soon as you get out there, you're in a strange world, and where the old rules don't apply, and you have to discover who you are. And then you find a mentor, and then that mentor teaches you new tools, and then that mentor dies, and now you're on your own again, and then there's a big dragon to slay, and you either almost slay it and you make it, or it kills you and then you come back to life. It's just the hero's journey, and every human being is on their own hero's journey if they're
Yeah.
willing to take that first step in, listen to the call of
Mhm.
adventure, and leave their homeland, which is their old beliefs and their old comforts, and step into the land of adventure, and then a whole world of excitement awaits. But it's a really profound book, and it's helped me a lot with understanding character too, because the characters I play, you have to think about their journey, and like where and understand so you can arc the character a little bit on a hero's journey as well. So that's what I would say to someone to overcome fear, is just you listen for the call to adventure and go. Like, just get out of your head and go. And yeah, you're going to make mistakes and it's scary, but being comfortable is not a life. It's you just watch other people live their life, and
Yes.
you watch movies, and you sit on Netflix, and that's not living. Like, everybody has their own call to adventure that they're either listening to or they're not.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, fear is always going to be there, but you can feel the fear and you can do it anyway. And you can feel uncomfortable and do it anyway. So kind of becoming comfortable feeling uncomfortable and becoming comfortable feeling the fear. I think that is also key. I just saw we had a question from one of our audience members asking how you got into Hallmark movies. So I would love to quickly address that.
Yeah, I was on another show called Bitten, which is very different from Hallmark. I played the boyfriend of a werewolf, Laura Vandervoort. It was a really cool Canadian series. People who watch Hallmark may not enjoy Bitten. It's quite racy and quite it's pretty violent in its way. But one of the CEOs at Hallmark, Bart Fisher, saw my performance, and he offered me my first movie with Danica McKellar that was
Amazing.
called Perfect Match. And then when I did that movie, uh, I worked with Ron Oliver, who's one of my favorite Canadian directors, and he then called me 2 weeks later to come back and do my second movie with Candace Cameron called Christmas Detour for Hallmark. And then the next one came a few months later with Lacey Chabert, and then it just kind of kept going. And then the opportunity to do When Calls a Heart came my way, and there was a couple roles that they had sent my way. One was for Dr. Shepard, who I chose, and there was another role that I didn't want to do. And so yeah, I think I've been with Hallmark almost 5 or 6 years now, and there's a lot more movies in the works and planned. And then season 8 comes out of When Calls a Heart in just 2 weeks now. I'm sure somebody in the comments will know the exact air date, but I think it's the 20th or 21st when our and this series could go 15 years. It's got, the fans keep growing,
Yeah.
and When Calls a Heart is a very special show. It's a little bit like Little House on the Prairie. Even Michael Landon Jr., Michael Landon, who did Little House on the Prairie, his son created our show, so it has similar fans. And it's a really beautiful family and studio to be a part of the Hallmark Channel.
I'm sure. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
21st. Yes, somebody in the comments said the 21st. Good.
First.
Yeah, February 21st. I know we have a lot of Hearties, and I want to especially say hi to the Hearties here that are watching, and Greenies, and people that love our show and love the movies, and yeah.
You have such an incredible fan base, and I'm just looking at all these beautiful comments we're getting in here, and I can tell that people are really loving our conversation. So that makes me so happy, and they're just raging about you. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I
And
definitely have the most amazing fans. They've really come together through the pandemic. One of the things I created was live concerts. So I'm a musician too. And
yes,
when we were on our biggest lockdown, I did a live Facebook for Hallmark Channel for season 7 of When Calls a Heart, and a lot of people came out to watch that. I think it has over 170,000 views, that one little video I did, and on Facebook. And then I was like, wow, there's a big audience here. So every week I would put up just a couple concerts, just with the intention of knowing people were stuck at home,
mm-hmm.
and they could watch music and they could request their favorite songs. And then I wrote a bunch of songs, and it was I think I've done close to 190 of these concerts since the pandemic first hit. So that was one of the ways I was able to keep creating and doing something I loved, which is music. And then a lot of the fans that are on here, I recognize most of their names, are found me on Facebook earlier, and they've shown up. Some of them have been to every single one of those concerts.
That's amazing.
And yeah, I definitely have an amazing fan base.
Yes, you definitely do. I've seen that, and I'm seeing that right now. It's incredible, but for good reason. You are such an incredible human being in so many ways, and your heart is so big, and your light shines so bright. So that's why you have this incredible fan base.
Well,
Um,
and it started out too as just how can I give back. It checked so many boxes. Not only was it doing something I loved, which is music, but
yeah,
it was knowing that people were stuck at home. And I do a gospel one on Sunday for those who couldn't get to church. So Sundays is more of a gospel spiritual focus, and then Fridays nights really just fun. And my fiance would come on and sing duets with me, and but it started out, and that's what I want to encourage your viewers too, or anybody listening, is finding something that you really love that you can also be a contribution to others, and then you're lit up, but you're also in service, and it's one of those magical things that comes together when you're doing what you love, but you're also doing it as a contribution to others. It grows into, and it's grown into many different opportunities for me, and just being able to play my guitar and sing consistently. My songwriting and my singing and my guitar has elevated to a new height because of so many hours, like thousands of hours of performing. And I do 2 voice lessons a week, and I have my acting lessons every week, and I have a coach, and then we have another I have many mentors that are teaching me so that I can continue to level up in my contribution.
I love that. It really is all about giving back, and what you give, you get. So it's all a circle. It comes back to you, and it truly is the most incredible feeling to give. And yeah, I think that's such a key aspect of success, is to give back. It is just so good for everything.
Yeah.
And as humans, we need to help each other. We're one and the same. We're all in this together. And, we need to kind of uplift each other, support each other. And yeah, we're all connected. We really are.
Yeah. Well,
So
this life, and as an actor, especially if there's actors when they watch this, it's meant to be fun. And so I choose an action that's fun when I'm acting, like something that is crackling with fun. And there's a motto: if it's not fun, F it. Like, forget about it. If it isn't fun,
yeah.
F it. Like, don't do it. And I think it's such a powerful engine, that to motivate you, is so it gets to be fun, and your life gets to be enjoyable. And if it's not fun, then you should look at what you're doing and find a way to make it enjoyable and fun, because you can have it all. You can have a level of fulfillment and success and be fun, but a lot of people feel like, I'm just going to work hard and I'm going to put my nose down and grind it. But it's really like, if you're not enjoying it, then what's the purpose? You could die tomorrow. So like, find a way to make whatever you're doing enjoyable and fun. And then I think it'll light other people up, because they can watch you have fun, and they end up having fun with you.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. If you're doing something that you don't enjoy, first of all, you're probably never going to be amazing at it, because
Right.
you need to really enjoy something to become really good at it, because only then will you put in the required effort you really need to succeed. And if you're, shining bright and your light is really lit, then you're going to be lighting the light of others as well, like you said. So it's in your own it's in your favor, and it's in others' favor that you actually do something that you love and that lights you up, because then you will contribute from a better place. You really will. We've already gone over time, but if you have time for a couple last questions.
Sure.
So there was one question from the audience that I would love to just touch on as well, asking what's your tips for how to get into Hallmark?
Well, I mean, the way it came to me was obviously through another show, because I'm not sure I'm not certain of how to tell somebody to do that, other than to create and make something amazing that you're proud of, and that other people might see, and make something that's on brand of Hallmark. Then, even though Bitten wasn't, my character very much was. Like, my character on Bitten was like the leading man in all the Hallmark movies that I do. So, but it's not like I couldn't say, like, send your picture here. Just get into acting class and find a class, and it doesn't matter that we're virtual. There's many good classes. I've got a guy I love, Greg Sims. I'm sure you're connected. The sponsor of this podcast is a acting school virtually too, right? Yeah. So just act. Like, you can't, if you want to act, you got to act, and you can't just say, I want to be at that end result and be in Hallmark. No, you have to create and put yourself in acting classes all the time, and be writing little skits and do them with your friends and act. The only way to become an actor is to act. And so find ways to do it. And then, it's not, your goal shouldn't be to be on Hallmark. Your goal should be because it's the doorway in there is very narrow. Like, they find people that they love in other things, and they offer them movies. The audition process I'm not familiar with the audition process to Hallmark. I know they obviously cast the guest star roles. So, they shoot a lot in Vancouver and some in Toronto. And so if you're in those cities and you have an agent, you could ask them to keep an eye out for Hallmark roles for the smaller roles, and then build your way up. But they do, as far as I understand, they offer the main roles to people that they like from other shows. You don't really audition necessarily for Hallmark leading roles, as far as I understand. They're offered, but there's a lot of side characters in there that people could talk to their agent or manager once they've found one, and to keep their eye out for those smaller roles, and then work their way up. But I don't really know how to give advice on to get into Hallmark, because it came at me through another show.
Yes, but I think you answered that question really well. So I hope that I saw there was 2 people asking, so I hope you got a lot out of that. So yeah, you can ask your agent to kind of keep an eye out and just keep acting, and
and really watch the movies, because there's a formula to it. Like, watch Hallmark movies, and there's no victim in the characters. They're always falling forward. It's almost like there's a style of acting within it that your characters are always making choices that are in a sense, positive's not necessarily the right word, but they're always falling forward. I never will make a choice when I'm acting to be a victim, or to be like, poor me. It's always like aspirational acting. So there's a style of acting for these Hallmark things that's very aspirational. So you never make choices that are like a Debbie Downer. You're always making choices that are really serving the other actors and serving the story. That's a little bit of a detailed answer, but you watch a lot of the Hallmark movies and shows and watch the acting, and there's a style to it for sure. And that could then, you could use that if you ever get an audition for Hallmark, to make sure you're making those choices that are aspirational.
I love that. And also that's what you should do in life too, make aspirational choices.
Yeah.
So we have some final rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit me.
What is the one book you think everyone should read?
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's very small, and it really speaks to how your mind is a garden, and that you can water it, or you can take the weeds out. And it's amazing, short little book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. It's from 1910 or something, but it's a little book. It's awesome.
I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
What is one thing we can do for our health?
My mind goes to sleep is the most important. That's my mind goes there first. Yeah.
I so agree with that.
Yeah. Sleep. You can't drink enough water. And I think water is the most important too. But if you have no sleep and you're drinking water, you're going to still have a compromised immune system. So I focus on whole foods, like eating mostly many vegetables as I can possibly get into my body, organic vegetables, and a good sleep and lots of water. But I put mineral drops in my water because water doesn't carry much vitality anymore because of the processing plants and how it's good water filter system. Those are my big 3 ones. And then move your body. So if you're getting good sleep, drinking lots of water, eating organic, lots and lots of vegetables, then move your body, you're going to be far ahead of this health game. Those are like the big 4 pillars, I believe. And then having a positive mental game around it, loving yourself exactly how you are and where you are, not thinking, oh, when I get a certain level of thinner, or if I lose weight, then I'll love myself. It's just loving yourself exactly where you're at. Yeah. And not thinking you'll be happier when you're thinner, or happier when you're, more fit or something. Is just being that self-love piece is the 5th pillar to those 4 things. I can't just give you one, but sleep wins them all, I think.
I agree, but those are exceptional pillars. I think they're definitely, if you do those things, you're good.
I think so. And in that, then you cut out all the processed food, because if you're making healthier choices, you're going to crave healthier food. The momentum goes, whatever. If you feed yourself crap, you're going to want more crap. But if you feed yourself really great food, you're going to want more great food. It's a tipping point of momentum.
It really is. And I quit eating sugar a long time ago, and I don't even crave sugar anymore, because your taste buds actually change and you're not wanting those same things anymore. So if you just stick with eating healthy for a few weeks, it's like a habit with anything else. And if you just do that, then eventually you'll start craving that healthy food, and that's going to taste amazing to you.
Agreed.
So I think that's such an important point.
I agreed. One of my fans just said, Paul can't do rapid fire questions.
No.
I can't. We also a lot of my fans are drinking celery juice, which I saw
that. You know what? I drink celery juice every morning.
Yeah, look at your skin. Look at your skin. Yeah.
Oh.
It's amazing. A lot of these amazing people watching are drinking celery juice, and some of them are in a year-long program that my fiance and I are taking. Well, it's actually an 8-week program that lasts a year, and one of the things we introduce in there is celery juice and medical medium for them to, especially during this.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, especially during COVID.
Oh yeah, celery juice all the way. I couldn't be more on board with that.
Yeah.
All right, so the final rapid fire question is, what is one thing we can do to achieve our goals?
Write them down. So there's a really cool book called It Works, and it's actually a video that there's a video called, it's an audio book. It's a very small little red book. You can buy the book, and you write down the top 10 things that you want to create. And they recur in your calendar 3 times a day, but you have to look at them 3 times a day and get into the feeling of what they are. And just by being present to your goals, actually seeing them. And if you don't write them down, not only will they might happen, but you'll never know they happen. So you won't be present to the miracle that your life is and what a creator you are. So write them down, but not just write them and then put them away. They have to pop up like 3 times a day. So you go, oh, this is what I'm creating. And the book is called It Works. And then there's another a woman, a French woman, who interprets the book on YouTube. And I'll try and find the link to share with you so you can put it in the notes.
Yes.
But just writing them down, if that's all you did, your likelihood of having them happen is exponentially greater. And then just being present to them. So then you check them off and you replace it. So you always have 10 on there, and you're not allowed to share it. Inside that book, these are yours and you don't share them, which is an interesting concept. A lot of people share, and I don't know what's better, but I like this way of doing it, of writing things. And it's amazing how quickly they come true. And then you're present to it. You see it. You're like, oh, that happened, that happened, that happened. And you're like, oh my gosh, I actually am co-creator of my life. Like life is happening powerfully as I say it and as I create it. It's a really neat tool.
Yes, absolutely. I write all of my goals down as well. And I think another thing is to have a vision board, because then you're always not just reading your goals, but you're seeing them as well. So that's one thing that I love to do, is always make a vision board and put all of my goals up there. But writing them down is absolutely so essential. All right, Paul, this has been such an incredible chat, and you have so much wisdom to share, and I'm so thankful and glad that I got to be a vehicle for that today. And I know everyone watching has gotten so much out of this, and I will put this interview in my IGTV, so we'll link to that so people can watch it back.
Okay, awesome.
So that the recording will be there. And yeah, I'm so thankful to have connected with you. You're a beautiful human being. Thank you for everything that you are, and we're all cheering you on and excited to see everything that's ahead for you. Yeah,
thank you. Thanks for doing this. It was nice to talk to you. You asked great questions, and you have a really great way of listening as well. That's great. This is my cat. Robbie. He's a big mush.
Oh, he's so cute. Hi, Robbie.
Yeah, he keeps growing. We have another one, Kismet, that's hilarious. We have these two. We rescued these over the pandemic. That's one of the things that we took in 7, a mom and her 6 babies, and then we kept 2 of the babies and helped find homes for 5 of the other ones. And so that's one of the cool things during the first lockdown we had last year, that we got a couple cats that we're so happy with. Also.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, well, it was nice to meet you too, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much, and thank you again to our show sponsor, Mal Studio. They have virtual online classes. I highly recommend actors go check them out. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's been watching. It's been amazing to do this together, and have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you.
So much again, Paul.
I see a lot of the fans down here. Bonnie, Anne, Paquette. I know Jeanette Lemon is in Europe, and Timmy's in Europe. There's a lot of Europeans. What's so cool about this is there's people
Someone was asking if you know how to speak Norwegian, and I thought that was funny because I'm actually Norwegian. I was born and raised in Norway, but I assume you don't know how to speak Norwegian.
I don't. I know a little bit more Dutch. My mom's Dutch. My dad was born in Canada, but his family is from Norway. So half of my dad's family is English and the other half's Norwegian. But I've never actually even been to Norway.
My dad is from England, actually. My mom is Norwegian, my dad is English, and I was born and raised in Norway. He moved there, and they've been living there together ever since. But that's cool that you have some roots.
Yeah.
From Norway, yeah.
I really want to go and visit the country because I love Sweden and Denmark and obviously Holland, but I, for some reason, haven't seen Norway yet, which I'm really excited
Norway
to
is,
do.
well, you should definitely go. And now you have a Norwegian friend.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So great to meet you.
You too. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for being
Bye.
here. Even we have a fan from Greece here.
Amazing.
There you go. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.